Mom's coming back to this house, so you need to leave. From now on, it's just Mama and me. I will thoroughly get rid of any nuisance. I married a man who's excessively dependent on his mother. I realized this marriage was a mistake about a week after we registered our marriage. Despite trying to keep him happy and living together, it seems I'm no longer needed by him. Well, after being told that, I don't even want to live with him. After all, I am the one who paying for this house's mortgage and living expenses. Now it's time for my retaliation. I thought, get ready, you foolish husband. My name is Wendy, a 32-year-old working housewife. I lead a busy life, perfectly managing work, housework, and childcare. I drop off my 1-year-old daughter at daycare to focus on work that needs to be finished. Rob, my husband, was kind and considerate at the beginning of our marriage. He even used to make lunch for me. But now, he's nothing like he used to be. Every time he sees me, it's just complaints. He keeps finding faults and picking on me day after day. Hey, I'm going to bath Hannah and put her to bed. Can you warm up and eat your dinner yourself? After that, I need to continue with my work, so I'd appreciate your cooperation. Even when I ask him to help with household chores, he refuses. What? Why do I have to heat it in the microwave? That's a woman's job. Don't joke around with me. This is how it goes, with no sign of him helping at home. I think he should at least be able to feed himself, but a month into our marriage, even that stopped. Why did I marry such a man? I've always been told by friends that I'm not good at choosing men, but I was sure this time would be different. I thought such a kind person could never betray me. I trusted Rob from the bottom of my heart. Of course, I introduced Rob to my best friend. We went out for meals together, and she thoroughly checked what kind of person he was. She found nothing wrong and even approved of him, saying, "Wendy, you finally found a good man." But it turns out that was all an act. Because Rob now is a completely different person. Well, I could have tolerated his patriarchal attitude, but his dependency on his mother was completely unexpected. Even when we were dating, he talked a lot about his mother. Mom's been living alone for years. I'm worried about her. I think it'll be better if she lived with us someday. I felt uncomfortable when he started hinting about living together. But your mother said she prefers living alone because it's easier and she doesn't have to worry about others. If we were to live together, I'd need to prepare a lot of things. When I said that, Rob would get furiously red and start verbally attacking me one-sidedly. Wouldn't you be worried if your mother lived alone? I didn't think you were such a cold person. Anyway, I'm worried about Mama. I thought, wait, what? Did he just call his mother Mama? No way, Mama? That's just not right for someone who's 35. Seeing Rob refer to his mother as Mama made everything go white before my eyes, and I suddenly felt nauseous. It wasn't out of prejudice, but rather beyond surprise that I found myself in this situation. However, from that day onward, Rob started to incessantly talk about his mother as if he had embraced this behavior. Upon closer inspection, his phone had Mama listed, and sometimes I would catch him secretly making calls, always addressing her as Mama. Moreover, referring to himself as Rob, he would say things like, "Mama, Rob worked hard at his job today," or "It was so hard I thought I'd wilt." It was a clear lack of judgment in man. At that moment, I realized this was yet another failure. But with a child already born, and no clear grounds for divorce, I couldn't simply walk away. I thought it wouldn't be right to take a father away from an innocent child. So I believe I needed to endure as much as I could, trying to appease Rob and get him to help around the house. However, the first major incident occurred a month later. Rob returned home visibly distraught, saying, "Something terrible has happened. Mama has to be hospitalized." His trembling voice and nearly tearful face made it clear to me that something bad had happened. But as far as I could gather, it wasn't a life-threatening situation. She had suffered a mild heat stroke while participating in the neighborhood cleanup under the scorching sun. I was relieved it wasn't serious, but Rob was frantic, saying, "I have to go to the hospital right now, and if she has to stay in the hospital for long, I should stay with her." He was pacing around the house. When our daughter had a fever of over 100 degrees, he didn't show any concern and just slept through it, snoring. I found it perplexing. "I don't think she needs someone to stay with her. You said she'd be discharged soon, right? Besides, we need to remind her to stay hydrated when going out." I was merely expressing my honest opinion, but it seemed to infuriate Rob. Initially, Rob listened quietly, but then he turned red, kicked the table hard, and yelled, "Can't you understand someone's pain? Have you ever thought about how much Mama suffered?" He was angrier than I had ever seen him. It seemed ridiculous to me to panic and rush to the hospital for a mild case of heat stroke. Yet, he brought up this topic. If he was so worried, why didn't he just go to the hospital himself without asking me? From that day until her discharge, Rob was consistently anxious, thinking only about his mother. Even when I talked to him, he seemed oblivious. He hardly ate and couldn't sleep, visibly losing weight. I was busy with work and childcare and didn't have the luxury to worry about Rob. But 3 days later, he dropped a bombshell, leading to the second major incident. "Mom might be discharged soon. I'm so relieved. It's sooner than I expected." "That's great. She should rest at home for a while then." To me, it was a normal conversation, but Rob once again flew into a rage. "Mom's coming back to this house, so you need to leave. From now on, it's just Mama and me. I'll get rid of any nuisance. I don't need Hannah either. You two need to leave as soon as possible." "What? What are you saying? You can't just tell us to leave all of a sudden." I was utterly confused. What is he talking about? Is he in his right mind? I regretted marrying a man with such an extreme mother complex. Despite trying to appease him, it seems neither my daughter nor I am needed anymore. But I certainly don't plan to live with him after being told that. After all, I'm the one paying for this house, including the mortgage. Now it's time for my retaliation. "Get ready, you foolish husband." "Fine, I'll leave if that's what you want. If you insist, I'll do it. It's regrettable, but it can't be helped. This means divorce, right?" I knew that him telling me to leave equated to divorce, but I needed to hear it from Rob himself. And sure enough, he said, "Of course, I don't need you anymore. Just so you know, I won't pay a penny for our daughter's upbringing. And there's no property division either. Anyway, get out before Mom is discharged from the hospital." Okay, I understand. That's fine with me." That was my response. My work had just settled down, and it was a good time to move. While feeling terrible, my mother-in-law called after hearing I was leaving the house. She said, "Wendy, so you are leaving the house, huh? Then I can live there with Rob, just the two of us. Thank you so much for that. It was a short marriage, but you must be tired." I'm getting discharged the day after tomorrow, so leave the house by tomorrow at the latest. That's all she said before hanging up. Tomorrow? What? That's why I'm saying it's too sudden. I could leave right away by myself, but it's not so easy with my daughter's preparations needed. While I was still in shock, Rob said, "Did Mama say anything? You didn't try to stop our divorce, did you? I guess she was opposed to our marriage from the start. Make sure you leave by tomorrow. I don't want to see your face anymore. I'll be out until then." Rob's sarcasm was unbearable. I thought it was a waste of time dealing with such a fool. After Rob left, I started calling various companies. A friend had recommended them, so they agreed to act quickly. I was looking forward to tomorrow. After packing up, I told my parents everything about the divorce. My parents are strict, so I expected them to say things like, "You have to endure for your child." But my father said, "I was wondering when you're divorced. It's good you're doing it while the child is still young." And my mother laughed, saying, "I thought it was only a matter of time. I'm sorry for Wendy, but Rob and his mother are quite peculiar." And the next day, I called the junk removal company again and had them dispose of all the furniture and appliances in the house. I threw away everything, including my beloved sofa, dining table, and dresser. Of course, I left Rob's belongings untouched. I didn't want any complaints later. I just threw away everything I had bought. After the house was empty, I called the real estate agent. "Are you sure you want to sell such a nice house at a low price?" Despite their words, I had no attachment to the house, so I decided to sell it. I left the price entirely up to them. Then, with the house cleared, I moved out with my daughter. Today was the day my mother-in-law was getting discharged, and they were planning to celebrate, but things don't always go as planned. By noon, we arrived at my parents' house, and my daughter and I relaxed. She was playing happily with my parents, showing a smile she never showed Rob. No matter what, I must make this child happy. That's when it finally came. The barrage of calls from Rob. Now, it's time to settle things. I picked up the phone thinking this. "Hello, what's up? Do you need something from me?" As I said this, Rob was panicking. "What the heck? This house is empty. Today is the day Mom gets discharged from the hospital, and I just finished moving her stuff from our family home." It seems Rob thought I would leave everything in the house, so he had disposed of all the furniture and appliances at his parents' house. "Oh, did you throw everything away? What a coincidence. Even though we're a terrible match, it looks like we did the same thing. By the way, all the furniture and appliances in this house were mine before we got married, so it's my right to dispose of them." What do you mean by that?" Rob's attitude suddenly lost its arrogance after he had been so eager to kick me out, which is quite laughable. "Oh, by the way, I decided to sell the house." "That's okay, right? It's in my name, and I've been the one paying the $2,000 monthly mortgage." What? It seemed like Rob finally understood everything at this point. In essence, by kicking me out, he had also lost his place to live. Well, it's too late to realize now. I added more. I'm so glad. You did say no property division, right? I'm earning a lot now, so I was worried about having to share if you asked for it. Really, your words have helped me in so many ways. Thanks. Wait a minute. I don't understand what you're saying. Does this mean I can't live in this house? What are Mama and I supposed to do now? My family home is already vacated, you know. Was Rob planning to live for free in a house not in his name? If so, that's incredibly short-sighted. Thinking that I lived with such a foolish man makes me realize I have no eye for people. I must admit that to myself. As I was stunned by Rob's words, his mother took the phone. "What are you doing? Doesn't your heart hurt doing such a terrible thing? Doing something so vengeful? Nobody becomes happy with that." But her preaching didn't resonate with me at all. After all, I was the one told to leave. "Actually, Mother, instead of lecturing me, you should worry about yourself. Because Rob's salary is only $1,000 after deductions. He's in debt to his company and they're deducting $300 from his salary each month." I told her everything since it seemed she hadn't thought about her future living situation. About 2 years ago, it came to light that Rob had been embezzling company funds for entertainment. At that time, the company debated whether to make him resign, demote him, or reduce his salary. They decided to let him stay, deducting $300 from his salary monthly as a condition, considering we had just gotten married. Despite Rob contacting his mother daily, the fact he hadn't shared such crucial information was indeed laughable. Wait a minute. I'm only 63 and I'm not receiving a pension yet. I've been living on the money your father left, but there's hardly anything left. And now, with no house to live in and no money, how are we supposed to survive? Yes, that's right, Wendy. Come back to this house right now. Let's talk as a family again, make up and live together happily as a family. Okay, that sounds good, right? Let's do that. In the end, these two, who had driven me out, found themselves incapable of living on their own and had no choice but to rely on me. But, of course, there's no way I would forgive these two or think about earning money for them. No way, that's impossible. After all, you two just kicked me out. And now, the moment you realize you have no money, you want me back? That's ridiculous. But if you have time to say such things, you better find a new place to live quickly. What do you mean by that cold way of talking? We are husband and wife, aren't we? We haven't even divorced yet, and I won't accept it. Now he starts throwing a tantrum. What are you, a kid? It's just ridiculous. This foolish man probably doesn't even remember his own words. Well, in that case, I need to remind him. Hey, remember? You said we're divorcing. You won't pay child support and there will be no division of property. I recorded all your words on my phone, you know? I'm already consulting with a lawyer and they said the divorce will go through. Too bad for you. What? Recorded? You recorded our conversation at that time? That's terrible. Finally, after being emotionally cornered for so long, I got to say what I wanted and felt utterly relieved. Plus, all I have to do now is watch these two descend into hell. So, with that said, I would appreciate an early departure. And the divorce papers will be sent by my lawyer, so please proceed accordingly. Wait, Wendy. Ignoring Rob's crying, I unilaterally hang up the phone. I knew the persistent Rob would come to my parents' house, and sure enough, both of them showed up in the evening, even bringing a gift. Rob kept apologizing like a broken record. Wendy, I'm sorry for everything I've said and done. I'm truly remorseful. Please, let's start over just one more time. Please give me one more chance. He even knelt while saying these embarrassing lines. And then, my mother-in-law, thinking it might be a good strategy to win over my parents, started apologizing and making excuses to them. If possible, I would like Wendy and Rob to make up. After all, there's a child involved. I think it's better not to divorce. She spoke earnestly, but my mother, having had enough, said, "Weren't you the one who interfered with their marriage in the first place? I understand that you love your child. We love Wendy too. But once married, you shouldn't interfere and then cause trouble. From my point of view, what you did was the worst." She spoke directly to my mother-in-law. With her strategy backfiring, the mother-in-law locked down, unable to say anything. Maybe she didn't have the energy to argue back after being hit with the truth. Seeing no end to the conversation, I finally said, "No matter what you two say, my decision won't change. I don't want to see your faces anymore. From now on, let's discuss through a lawyer. Please leave." Having my decision communicated, Rob and his mother had to leave crying. Soon after, our divorce was finalized. Struggling to find a place to live, the two ended up renting a rundown company house from Rob's workplace, and now they live there quietly. Moreover, with rent deducted, Rob's take-home pay is now $700, over 30 and earning less than a part-timer. My mother-in-law had to start working too, but having never worked properly before and with her stubborn and arrogant nature, she seems to be struggling quite a bit. Well, it's a self-inflicted downfall. Seeing them hit rock bottom, I consider this case closed. I am planning to work hard, balancing my job, housework, and parenting.